Hello and welcome to the Slingshot channel. As you know, I love bows and I love them in all sizes. So when I saw the advertisement for this little miracle piece here, I was all over it and immediately ordered one. And it came from China. In fact, there will also be some more arrows, but they put them in different shipments for legal reasons, I believe. So I first just got the bow. And it is a beautiful one. Let me show you its features. As you see, it's a full-on compound bow with everything. I mean, you have the eccentric wheels, you have a let-off. You don't really have a lot of draw weight. It's probably like 20 pounds or something. You even have an aiming system, just lacks the peep sight. And you even have an arrow rest here. You have string stoppers, 2 of them actually. A lot of expensive bows don't even have one. You have like a roller-based glider for the cables, which is also very cool. It's really well made and it's a lot of fun. So I have not yet received any arrows, so I made my own arrow. Just from an old shashlik pin with some cut-off veins and the sawed-off tip of a steam bow hunting a broadhead arrow for the stinger. So this is about 10 grams. And it fits beautifully in the bow. Like so. And then of course I can draw out and shoot. But can we hit anything with it? Well, let's try to pop that yellow balloon over there. See if we can hit it. Okay. Ha! Yes, we can. It's so much fun. It is so much fun. But of course the question is, can we make an instant Legolas pump action magazine repeating system for it? Well, that's going to be really tough because look how small it is. There's just not a lot of room for it. Of course, you see there is the roller here for the cables. And of course here you have the limiting factor of this thing. So you have about 15 millimeters in height, and of course also it needs to be very small to look halfway out of dimension. Well, I think this time we would have to make it from metal, from aluminum, to make it as small as possible. Wood is just too bulky, too thick. Can we do it? I think we can. Let me show you what I came up with. The Fenrito Mini Fenris, complete with holder for the miniature compound bow. Let me show you its features. So, of course, as you see, it has a magazine for very small bolts. Basically, bolts for the steambow stinger that are actually, let me pop one out for you, that I actually had to trim down on the vane side to make it fitting. So, because the entire width of the box is only 15 millimeters, not wider. The magazine actually works just like any instant Legolas magazine. It has a spring-loaded lever, and also what you can do is you can feed in the ammo, and this has been limited to just 3 of these bolts, just 3, not more. And you have the typical release, and this time I opted for a finger ring since I didn't really want to make it so bulky that you can draw it back with a lot of fingers at the same time. And also, of course, you have the muzzle side, which stops it. Now this here can actually be replaced against the original arrow rest very easily, just with one Allen key. So let's install it on the micro bow. The Fenrito pump action mini compound bow. Let me show you its features. As you see, it glides in here, and I can very easily draw it out. Actually, this is so easy that I can actually draw this out with one finger, even with my pinky. So it is a toy really, but it's quite impressive how powerful it is for such a small little toy. As I said, you have 3 shots in the magazine, and even the roller, as you see, I really had to trim down things so that the roller for the cable glider here is actually not in contact with the magazine when I slide it back and forth. It cannot come out because it locks here. this little front plate that I installed. And now I can go ahead and shoot 3 balls. Let's try. Of course, I still have no aiming device. So much fun. Now, of course, the magazine is empty. To reload, simply open the little slot here by just pushing the lever to the side, and then I can simply drop in the balls. 1. And these are actually trimmed down versions of the new steambow bolts for the Stinger that have a hardened bodkin tip. So very, very well made new bolts. And of course here I had to trim down the vanes to keep the slim profile. Okay, reloaded and ready for action. And bing. I'm getting better with this. A lot of you guys will now say, well, this is not just like the Legolini. It is not. I mean, the Legolini, this one here, is actually really, really a piece of genius design from Lukasz Janikowski, because he published all the 3D printing files for it. But in comparison to the Fenrito, I think you would have to agree that this is so much more detailed and so much more pretty. While this is pretty raw, it's very functional, really. And of course, this one is rubber-based, but it's also a lot more powerful than this one. Okay, let's compare shooting the Legolini into the mat. Here, of course, I have an aiming device. And of course it locks on an empty magazine. Now this one of course still has the entire vanes from the original bolts. These are actually the new Steambow Stinger field tip bolts, really well made. And this means that it is a lot wider. So this kind of sliding magazine, I could never really have put it onto the micro compound bow. So this is much more practical. And it's also very sweet, but it is actually, I don't think, nearly as sexy as the micro compound from China, don't you think? So this is the least powerful instant Legolas I've ever made, and this is the most powerful one I've ever made, if you're not counting the one that's using 2 compound bows and works like a crossbow. Because this one is the one that uses the Realm SR6, very, very powerful bow, very expensive bow, but it has a lot of performance. Now, in order to test the power, the energy from both the small and the big one, I decided to clock the result. And for this, what I've done is I set the Realm SR6 to the maximum that works for me. So I changed this to 29 inches of a draw length. It's almost maximum. I think it can go up to 30. And also what I did is I converted it from comfort mode to a competition mode, so performance mode. So this one now has almost no more let off. This one is very unpleasant to shoot, but it should give me a lot of power. Okay, I got my radar crony installed, so you can see the result in meters per second on my phone. Oh. That's 94 meters per second. Let's go for one more. Yeah. Oh, very exhausting. 102 meters per second. Now that must be the record, because that is very fast. Let's figure out the energy. And here you can see the difference that it makes, because these actually barely stick in the archery mat, whereas these here are in so deep that it's not going to be easy to get them out again. Okay. So as you see, this is penetration, so it means that it was poking out slightly at the rear end of the triple layer archery mat, which is really new. Oops. Whoa. Oops. I think I need some new show horses. Sorry for that. So, the Fenrito, the most badass miniature compound bow on the planet. I like it, and I hope you do too, because that's it for today. Thanks and bye. One for you, as always. Bye.